Good afternoon, and thanks to all of you for being here, those of you who are here in person and those of you who are joining us online on this very special occasion. My name is Cam Patterson. I'm the Chancellor of the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences, and I welcome you all today. Today we are here to confer an endowed chair on behalf of one of our most distinguished faculty members. Endowed chairs and professorships have a rich academic tradition. The first chairs endowed were made possible by Lady Margaret Beaufort, the mother of King Henry VII, in the early 1500s. Those professorships were conferred to the colleges of Oxford and Cambridge to support the colleges of divinity and education there. And to this day, the Lady Margaret professorships continue to support scholarship and scholarly activities at Oxford and Cambridge. The first professorships made their way to the New World 50 years before the Declaration of Independence at Harvard University, and now there are over 500 professorships at Harvard. Professorships connote and allow us to honor our most distinguished faculty members. They provide ongoing support for research, education, and clinical services. And here at UAMS, we honor the recipients of endowed chairs with a forged medallion with two sides to it. And to me, the two sides of that medallion represent three important relationships. The first is the relationship between the donor and the parent institution. This represents a commitment, a substantial commitment of funds from the donor or donors to support scholarly activities at UAMS. The second relationship is the relationship between UAMS and the recipient. And this is our determination that the recipient is someone who has met the highest standards of academic achievement, someone who has gone above and beyond to advance healthcare, someone who is passionate about teaching the next generation of scholars, someone who has engaged in scholarship themselves in a way that has allowed the better fruits of our endeavors to affect patient care in a positive way. The third relationship is, to me, in many ways the most important, and that's the relationship between the past and the future. This forged medallion represents everything that the endowment that supports the chair has accomplished in the past, all the work that has been made possible by this endowment, this important commitment, and what's going to happen as a consequence of this endowment now in the hands of a new recipient going forward. All of these things that we could imagine that are now going to be possible by putting our trust in this recipient. And that is what we are here today to celebrate. Dr. Govindarajan, I can think of no one who is better suited to serve as the next chair of the Laura Hutchins Professorship in Hematology and Oncology. This is our salute to you and our determination that these resources could be in no better hands. And we are doubly fortunate to have here today that person for whom this endowment is named after, Dr. Laura Hutchins. Dr. Hutchins has served UAMS in so many ways, including having been the director of the Division of Hematology and Oncology here for such a long time. And as we think about where we are here today at UAMS in the state of Arkansas, approaching National Cancer Institute designation, we know that this honor of naming this professorship after Dr. Hutchins could not be more well deserved. that this is an endowment that is supported by an anonymous gift, by the proceeds of the 2012 Cancer Gala for Life, and by additional donors who have made substantial, important contributions to this. So, Dr. Govindarajan, we're delighted to be able to celebrate your life's achievements so far, and we are pleased to think that your achievements will grow even greater with the fruits of the endowment of this professorship. I'd now like to invite the Dean of the UMS College of Medicine, Dr. Steve Weber, to give additional remarks.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Dr. Patterson. I'd also like to thank everybody for joining us today, and we're delighted that a number of members of Dr. Govind's family are with us today as well. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about why endowed chairs are so important, because they really do have a profound impact both on the faculty who hold them and on our institution. But ultimately, our Kansans and all those we serve benefit from the gifts that fund endowments and from the work of our faculty who hold these chairs. As the Chancellor said, endowed chairs are perhaps the most prestigious honor that any faculty member at our institution can hold. As such, they help us recruit and retain world-class educators, scientists, and clinicians. Just as importantly, they support the vital work and vision of the faculty member who holds them. Our mission here at UAMS, as you know, is to improve health, and we strive to accomplish this through our work in education, research, clinical care, and service across the state. An endowed chairholder might choose to use the investment earnings from the chair to launch, expand, or otherwise support an initiative in any of our mission areas. But regardless of how an endowment is directly used, it benefits all of our mission areas together. And this, of course, is because our programs across the missions of education, clinical care, research, and service are truly integrated. It is also very significant that endowed chairs help us improve our programs and services across our missions in perpetuity. This is especially important at times like now when resources are limited. So we are delighted today to celebrate the philanthropic spirit of all the contributors who made this chair possible, and it is also an opportunity, as the Chancellor has pointed out, to reflect upon the remarkable leadership and service to UMS and our state of the chair's namesake, Dr. Laura Hutchins, who we are delighted has been able to join us today. So finally, it is a great pleasure to honor the outstanding colleague who will be the next holder of this chair. And so again, congratulations, Dr. Govind. With that, I'm pleased to introduce our speakers for this afternoon. First will be Dr. Michael Bira, Vice Chancellor at UMS and Director of the Winthrop P. Rockefeller Cancer Institute. Next will be Dr. Laura Hutchins, Professor Emeritus in the Department of Internal Medicine. And finally, Dr. Mazin Safar, Associate Professor in the Division of Hematology and Oncology. So welcome, Dr. Bira.
Thank you, Steve. Chancellor, Dean, department chairs, institute directors, and friends. It is truly a great pleasure for me to say a few words about my colleague and friend, Dr. Govindarajan, or as we like to refer to him as Dr. Govind. I will keep my comments short, as I know there's lots of people who want to say some comments, which frankly is not surprising to me given the investiture candidate. Dr. Govind is our Division Chief for Hematology Oncology, and that is in fact what I want to focus on. This is a critical position in oncology care, as much of oncology involves towards systemic therapy. The regimens are becoming increasingly complex, and ultimately the development of precision oncology, which is exactly what our patients want. Add to that, this division has a large and diverse faculty consisting of many junior faculty, some very experienced senior faculty, with fairly limited mid-career investigators. I call that herding cats. It's not an easy job. Further, there's a very large fellowship, 15 fellows, along with a hospital service and clinical research. This is a complicated position, and it's all-consuming and occupies an enormous amount of administrative time and commitment. It requires somebody of great talent, diverse experiences, calm demeanor, and effective communication. As head of the search committee, when we were looking, I was actually the interim division chief for a while. We won't go back over that. But I can say that we made the right choice, as Dr. Govin had all of those characteristics. And perhaps most importantly, he was well respected by his peers, including those serving under him. The transition by Dr. Govin into that position was seamless and smooth, and he's continued to build a division, expand his oncology services, pursue its academic activities. In short, he was the perfect person at the perfect time for a difficult job. Now, he has an excellent academic background and credentials, and I think other people will refer to that. You need that to be division chief, and it will be described. But in my opinion, his true secret to success has been an affable personality, honest interpersonal approach, and great sensitivity to those around him. This has served him extremely well and explains his ability to direct a division, mentor young investigators and fellows, and build hematology oncology. In that light, I speak with complete agreement that it's very appropriate he's invested into Laura Hutchins' chair. I look forward to continuing working with him and to continue to grow the academic oncology effort here at the Winthrop P. Rockefeller Cancer Institute. Congratulations, Dr. Govin.
Thank you all for being here. I look forward to trying to tell you a little bit more about Dr. Govin. And I'm going to start out by telling you that I actually found out in preparation for this talk that I don't know what his name is. And there's going to be more about that later. So I want to start by introducing you to Dr. Bates, if you don't know him. Dr. Bates was a very well-respected physician who was the chief of medicine at the VA hospital. And the house staff that trained under him referred to him by a nickname, Mad Dog. And the nickname Mad Dog was because that's how he somehow sometimes interacted with us. So when we were considering hiring Dr. Govin for a faculty member, he actually was very strong supporter of him and had this quote, which actually Dr. Safar remembered it from years back. So it says, Dr. Govin is a gentleman and a gentleman. And so I think that is something that has stuck in everybody's memory. And the fact that Dr. Bates had the reputation for being Mad Dog, known as Mad Dog, makes this even more important. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Dr. Govin. He's had many hardships. He did his medical school training and actually trained in internal medicine in India. And then he immigrated to the United Kingdom where he achieved the MRCP status and completed a registrar training in hematology. That was all done before he came to the United States. And he came here for his residency in 1992 and completed an internal medicine residency and fellowship at UAMS. Now, I actually think I might have met him, the first person that's still here, because I was assigned as his attending for his first rotation as a resident. So in 1992, a somewhat jet-lagged individual arrived on the floor late because of some travel problems, and but he picked things up and led the team very well. He had some issues when he was immigrating in that his father's entire first name, or whole name, became his first name, and his whole name became his last name. So that's why he's got such a long name. And I found out that actually his family name is Jacquet, and somehow that got dropped off completely. So I don't know what his name is, but he has always told us just to call him Dr. Govin. So he had a lot of issues with immigration that I'll talk about in a minute, but during his fellowship, I put that as a hardship because Dr. Barlegi was our division director at the time, and Dr. Barlegi had come to UAMS from MD Anderson, where he had adopted the training methods of Dr. Freireich, who was a very famous oncologist who ended his career, Dr. Freireich's career, at MD Anderson. And their method of teaching was to assign the fellows many, many presentations and then to interrupt them constantly with great criticism. And Dr. Barlegi was an expert at this method. So I would put this under the hardship category. He also had many triumphs. So one other story that I found interesting was one day I was working and he called me and he said, "We got a big problem." He said, "I can't get my clinical trial through because the BioVentures has stopped it because they say I need to apply for a patent." So what had happened was Dr. Barlegi had this method also in which certain treatments, he would want them tested in all cancers. So during his thalidomide phase, Dr. Govin was told to write a clinical trial using thalidomide for colorectal cancer. And so he wrote it with thalidomide and irinotecan, which was a unique combination from two different companies. And I don't understand the patent for this, but at any rate, he couldn't get it approved because he had to apply for a patent. And he said he didn't want a patent. Well, he got it anyway, and then he and UAMS split the proceeds from that. So I think it was a benefit in the long run. Also, one day it was very windy, and an ember from his neighbor's yard blew onto his deck, and his whole house caught fire and burned to the ground. The only thing that was left, as I recall, were some papers that were in an interior closet, but everything else was gone. So that is a major ordeal for him to help lead his family through all of that. And through all of this, his wife, Sabitha, has been at his side. She worked at UAMS in IT and solved a number of problems during her tenure here. Their children, Raj has his PhD and he's an engineer. He's married to Dr. Christina Peterson, and they have a son, Ashwin, who's 17 months old. They live in Chicago. Shri is also a physician and is recently married to Atul Bali, and they live in New York City. One thing I remember about Shri is she was about maybe 2 feet tall, and was in the workroom waiting for her parents to finish work and was just swinging back and forth in a chair. And I don't remember, she was very talkative, and I don't remember how we got on the subject of agendas, but she ended up saying, "Yeah, my mom says I have my own agenda." So I'll let you interpret that however you will. As far as academic accomplishments, Dr. Govin has 36 peer-reviewed publications, but what I think is more remarkable is that about 28 of his 43 abstracts were selected for oral or poster presentation in national or international meetings. And of those, he mentored about 13 different fellows. So I have highlighted the fellows' names, and I just would like to go through that. Dr. Shaw, Dr. Mitathatha, and Dr. Cleveland also had training grants for these presentations, merit and training grants, travel grants. I'm sorry, I'm old, and these slides back and forth are hard for me to keep up with. Dr. Mahmood, Dr. Susanabar, who was a resident, Dr. Dadapkar, Dr. Prakal, Dr. Carey, Dr. Gentry, Dr. Gray, Dr. Kunther, Dr. Bansal, Dr. Khan, Dr. Guja, Dr. Doro, Dr. Guja again, and Dr. Batra. So all of these things have led me to conclude that he is a gentleman, that he's an excellent mentor for the fellows. He's an excellent physician. I think I must have skipped a slide or forgot to mention that he also was known in our division for being an excellent diagnostician. So he diagnosed a patient who had been referred for a bone marrow transplant due to marrow aplasia with copper deficiency. And copper deficiency was not on the list that I learned to cause aplasia, and I still have the books on my shelf to prove that. But it is now. And the reciprocal relationship exists with zinc and copper, so people who consume zinc can develop copper deficiency. And he found out that there's a doctor in Memphis that was operating on patients for weight loss surgeries and then giving them zinc for unknown reasons, and they were all developing copper deficiency. So that turned out to be a problem. He also was diagnosed adults with Gaucher's disease, which is something that was unheard of because they're usually diagnosed in childhood, and some of them escaped and were not diagnosed until he saw them. So he's known as an excellent diagnostician, and I think he has developed into an excellent administrator. For a while, I volunteered without compensation at the VA, and there was a lot of turmoil over there at the time. I failed to solve the turmoil. He took over and solved it in a short period of time. So his calm demeanor really helps in calming a variety of people down. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Safar. Thank you.
Well, first I would like to congratulate Dr. Govin and his family, and thank you all for coming. And I was just thinking, I'm well known to speak a lot, but today I'll prove to you that I learn also, so I'm going to change a little bit and not always speak a lot. So my comments are going to be a bit less complicated. So in oncology, we are well known for acronyms. There are many acronyms for chemotherapy, like there's CHOP and MOP and ABVD and all those things that are common. And recently in clinical trials, they like this, and they are naming clinical trials also with names. So here's one. Cleopatra is a name of a breast cancer trial. But you can see how the name really was fit into Cleopatra, because they take the CL from this and the E, and so to make it fit. So I'm going to use the same technique and use the name Govin and try to give you my acronyms for those letters. So the first one, G, is for glowing. This is for the two kids. I cannot tell you that I could induce the same glow in his eyes as much as when you talk about his kids with him. So whenever he's talking about you, it is different. He has this pride that comes very obvious. It almost pours out. And I know you probably know this, but it's nice to hear it in words. It really is very, very obvious, and it's very valuable, and I think you all should be very happy and proud to have a father like this who loves you that much, because it's really extremely obvious, and the moment your mention comes, immediately there's this glow that comes out of his face. So that's the G. O is the good old-fashioned oncologist. The O for oncologist I'm using here, and I mean it in a very good way. Good old-fashioned is this old, traditional, solid, the type that you depend on, you like, and you use all the time. And I noticed that there are so many O's, so one can say, ooh, very good old-fashioned oncologist. There are so many O's here that can even fit more. V is the pivot. Now, this was kind of introduced by Dr. Hutchins, and I will explain. On that very, very sad day when the fire happened at the house, the next morning on the paper, there was a picture of Dr. Govind and his wife. I remember, and that picture stuck in my mind because I don't know how they took it off him, but he looked like a pivot for the family. He really had that face like the main axis of a tent, you know. And I remember that I was looking yesterday. I kept searching the Gazette to see if I can find it. I couldn't find it. I was told by Dr. Hutchins you didn't like the fact that you were on the paper, but I'm telling you, it really stuck in my mind as the example of a pivotal person in the family. That picture exemplified it extremely well, that it stuck in my mind, and I thought it is worth putting it in the acronym. I is for stability, and I stretch the stability so that the I and L are not stuck to each other because capital I and L are the same. But it also to say he likes stability, and I think he has provided us with stability, both in the division and as a group. He has this calming presence that he can absorb any stress as if nothing is happening. And we then all start saying, maybe there isn't anything, so let's take it slowly. And I do think that this is a strength when you are a leader, to bring that sense of stability to people and also to the group. And in doing all of that, things are extremely better and much functioning better. N here is for the open-minded. So I said that he is a good old-fashioned doctor or good old-fashioned oncologist. Well, I'll submit I'm not an old-fashioned oncologist. I'm someone who makes fuss and sometimes get myself in trouble. But what I really liked is the fact that he respects that. He actually engages with me in discussions. He even allows me opportunity to present my ideas. So twice in RASCO now, he's invited me to just give a talk on whatever I want to talk about without any discussion. And I really think this is extremely respected also, because when you are open-minded and you're willing to discuss everything, even if it's the opposite opinion or a different flavor, I think that is a strength of any leader and any division chief, and we're blessed to have him. So, Dr. Govind, thank you very much for all what you've done to the division and for all what you have contributed to us as a group, and congratulations to all of you in the family. I wanted to make sure that the offspring realize how much proud he was of you, he still is, and how happy he is to be there for you. Thank you all very much.
Dr. Weber, Dr. Govindarajan, could you join me on stage?
Dr. Patterson, on behalf of the faculty of the College of Medicine, it is my distinct honor to recommend to you that Dr. Govindarajan be invested in the Laura F. Hutchins, MD, Distinguished Chair for Hematology and Oncology.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University of Arkansas System, it is my pleasure to invest Dr. Govindarajan in the Laura F. Hutchins, MD, Professorship in Hematology and Oncology. Dr. Govindarajan, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you very much, Chancellor Patterson, Dean Weber, Dr. Bader, Dr. Hutchins, and Dr. Sapar for all the kind words. I'm going to talk about my journey, where I am here, why I am here, and how I got here. My journey started in India, as Dr. Hutchins already pointed out, that I trained in India, did a residency in internal medicine, and went to the United Kingdom. The reason I went was peer pressure in a different way. All my colleagues were going to either UK or US for further training. So they said, why don't you go and explore another culture, another country, and get some more training? I said, why not? And I left India with about $1,000. Half of it was borrowed, and spent all my life savings to buy a ticket. So I landed in UK in the month of January when it was snowing a lot. So it was a big shock, cultural shock, and also the climate was different. Anyway, I survived it and got my MRCP in the process. During my stay in the United Kingdom, I married Sabita, who moved and gave me a lot of support for my success in the country. Then again, I was willing to go back to India. Actually, had an offer to take up a job in Bangalore as a hematologist, but again, peer pressure came. All my colleagues said, why don't you go to the US for a few years, get more training, then you can go back. So then I landed up in Arkansas. How did I land in Arkansas? Even I don't know how I did, why it happened. Those were the days before the computer, and all the applications were on paper. We used to have called a green book for residency. I don't know anybody in this room knows. So I was busy with my job at Leeds St. James's University Hospital as a registrar in hematology, and who did all my applications? It was Sabita. So I just signed all the applications, and she mailed them. I didn't know where all she had applied. And one of the interviews I got was in Little Rock, Arkansas. So I had to take a map, see where is Arkansas, what is this place. And anyway, then I came to the interview, and the program director in internal medicine was George Ackerman. I was staying in Cleveland with a relative. When it was snowing, it was minus 20 or 30. It was cold even by UK standards. So I took a flight and came to Little Rock, and it was sunny on a December morning. I said, wow, this looks good. And then I met the program director, and I was treated like I was coming in for an interview for faculty. They arranged my transportation, hotel, and I met him, and he was very welcoming, respected my training, and he was very kind. And during the interview, the other first faculty member I met was none other than Laura Hutchins. How I met was usually you go to the room and then sit with the professor and talk, but the chief resident took me to the Cancer Institute, and we were walking in the hallway. I said, this is Dr. Hutchins, she's going to interview. In the hallway, in the paper charts, we didn't have computers. She was pushing her cart in between patients. I don't know whether you remember. So we had an interview in the hallway in between patients. She must have liked me for something. And when I finished the interview, on the exit interview with the Ackerman, he said, you have the job. I'm going to hire you out of the match. I will give you a 1-year discount. Weather was good. what more do you want? I had made up my mind. But he said, don't sign anything. Go home, talk to your wife, get her approval before you sign, which was a good advice. Then, one of the mentors I can't forget is Tom Andreoli. I don't know, except some of the faculty sitting, Dr. Bradshaw and Dr. Hiller, I don't think others know him that much. Of course, Dr. Hutchins knows. Andreoli was the chairman of medicine. He was the editor of Cecil's textbook of medicine. And he was a terror to the residents. So actually, when I went to the morning report, I had just come from UK. Over the weekend, the first day I go to the morning report, he was conducting morning report 365 days. I was late by a minute, and he would not pardon even 1 minute late. He had locked the door, so the program coordinator knocked the door. One of the residents opened. When I went in, he asked me, "Who are you?" I introduced myself. He said, "It's 8:32. I looked at my watch. Yes. This morning report starts at 8 o'clock. And that's how he greeted me on the first day. I said, what have I got into? I mean, I left and crossed the ocean and came here, and the first day he's treating me like I'm a criminal or something. So, but I survived his training, and I think he respected who I was. And he was very intimidating to the residents, but somehow he wasn't too bad to me after that. And he had met Sabita several times. He always said namaste, he never shook hands, because he knew our culture and he respected that very much. And the other person whom I can never forget is Joseph Bates. Dr. Hutchins already mentioned him. He was the chief of medicine at the VA. And he was an excellent clinician. And he was looking for clinical diagnosis, and I didn't have any problem with that. And when it was time to find a job, he was of great help. And when it was time to go from fellowship to take up a job, he was instrumental in helping me get my immigration work. And from then, over the last 30 years, I met him in several meetings, social events. He always used to remind me of my residency days and how happy he was that I was his resident. Coming back to Dr. Hutchins, she is a great teacher and a great mentor. She taught me, and many of the residents, the work ethics and to work hard. And whatever I wanted to do, she gave me a free hand. She never interfered. And at the same time, she made sure that I was doing the right thing. And she was very principled. And also, many of the nurses in the clinic would call her mother. I don't know if you remember that. And then I wanted to try, like everybody in academics say, private practice is good, we need to go and try it. So one day, one of my friends in Florida said, why don't you come up and take a position here in Tampa, Florida? So I left. It wasn't a good fit for me and my family. So I started to apply for jobs again, and I called her, I want a reference. Her meaning Dr. Hutchins. Then she said, why don't you just come back? I had to think about it a lot, and then I did the right move in coming back. I don't know, many of you know that I had left for almost a year. And again, before that, I was about to go after my fellowship to Vanderbilt for an advanced fellowship. And then she persuaded me to stay back and take up a faculty position here. So she hired me as a resident, as a faculty, rehired as a faculty. So I must have done something right to deserve all this. Other mentors whom I can never forget are Dr. Hout and Dr. Maddox. These were my senior professors when I was in training. Dr. Hout trained under Wintrobe. Those of you in the audience know he was like a father of hematology. And then Dr. Maddox was attending, under whom I trained and learned a lot. And two of my colleagues who are my best friends are Dr. Ornithakis and Dr. Safar. Dr. Ornithakis, I can go to him and talk about anything as a friend, and we even became biking partners at some point. Dr. Safar has always been very different from all the other faculty that we have, because he always thinks. He doesn't do things like everybody else does. He always asks why we can't do it differently. And even now, the fellows like him because he puts a lot of questions to them and asks them to analyze. And I have multiple surgeons with whom I worked with. That is I think I saw Dr. Nicholas. And then yeah. And I used to work with him for the orthopedics cases in ortho-oncology. Now it's Dr. Montgomery. And then many of you may or may not know, at least some of them will know, Dr. Lang, Nicholas Lang. He was a great surgeon, and he mentored me to do research, and which led to very, very important publications and presentations in national and international meetings and leading journals. And then I have a whole bunch of surgeons to whom I am very grateful in the colorectal, hepatobiliary team, and also my colleagues in radiology, radiation oncology, etc. I also have the pleasure of working with great researchers and clinical trials office personnel, and of course nurses and nurse practitioners. One of the nurses with whom I have been working for more than 10 years is Renee. She's here in the audience. And Pam, who is my nurse practitioner, who really holds the fort when I'm not around. Of course, I am thankful to all my colleagues and friends who have taken time to come here and celebrate the investiture. This means a lot to me. All of this would not have been possible without my wife, who knows me longer than anybody else in this audience, and also my grandson, who knows me for the shortest time than anybody else in this audience. So she has gone through all the hardships which Dr. Hutchins mentioned, both in the United Kingdom, transitioning to the United States, going through some of the incidents which has been touched upon when we lost our house. And again, without her help, I couldn't have done this. And special thanks to all my family members. Kristen, she had to walk out with my grandson. He's making too much noise. And Shri, my daughter, and our newest addition to the family, Atul, my grandson, 1 month old grandson, grandson. I mean, son-in-law, 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 not grandson, son-in-law. And of course, Ashwin. Okay, and Raj, who was 3-year-old when we came here, and now he is a fully grown up, and he has a 1.5-year-old. Okay. Thank you very much.
Congratulations once again, Dr. Govindarajan. This is a well-deserved honor, and we are deeply grateful for your contributions to UAMS, and we look forward to much, much more in the future. I've done a bunch of these, and one of the things that I enjoy the most about investitures is that you get to learn something that you didn't know, and I always get to learn more about those individuals who are receiving this honor. But I also learned that Laura Hutchins has a wicked sense of humor. Laura, you never acted that way when I was working with you. I hope you all have enjoyed this event. This concludes the formal part of our investiture, but I invite all of you to join us in the back for a reception, and I would ask our honoree and speakers to come up on stage so that we can do some more pictures. Thank you all very much for attending. Have a good day.